Hello, it's the Ranny Duck and welcome back for another video. And today we have two replays in the tier 10 Italian tech tree medium tank, the Progetto 65. Now this tank is actually on track at the moment, so you can earn this tank for a 35% discount, as well as the other tanks in the line if you haven't already grinded this line out. And the Progetto 65 in the recent balance changes actually got a buff. And this tank's actually pretty decent with the buff. What have they done? Well, they increased the rotational speed from 36 degrees to 40 degrees on the turret. And they've also increased the reload, or improved the reload, from basically a second off of each clip. So you've gone from 13 second space reload on the first shell to 12 seconds. From 15 seconds on the second shell to 14 seconds. And from 17 seconds on the final shell to 16 seconds. And it's actually made quite a nice improvement on the tank, and the Progetto was always quite a fun tank to play because of its flexibility and mobility of the tank and just the way it feels. And it always did feel like the reload was a little bit too long. Where this improved to that, that just a second off the reload has made a difference. But we're here on this red shire for the first battle then, and it is team destruction, and we are in a two-man platoon with Swindle 321 in the Foch as well. And as you can see, a lot of the enemy tanks have pushed up down the 8-9 line. So I want to take advantage of this and try and win some map control so we can basically come behind the tanks in the 8-9 line. And essentially I'm going to try and push down to the K12, have Swindle to cover us, because I don't think there's going to be that many tanks here. And what it means is these two tanks in the middle, I'm essentially trying to put those ones in the sort of H4-5 line in the kill zone. And that's what I want to do, try and clear these tanks out, and then we can try and move on to help our team. And really trying to do this as quickly as I possibly can so that I can get behind the masses of tanks which are pushing down the C8-9 area. Unfortunately, however, I've left the Tiger Mouse on a two-shot to us, and I need to finish this tank off before I can move on. There is an enemy bar spotted to my right-hand side, but until I kill this enemy Tiger Mouse, I can't really move on. Now it's going to be an awkward tank to pen because he's unfortunately now facing us. I try and put one through the turret face, but I'm not going to be able to pen with the 268 APCR pen. I might be able to go through his cupola. I'm looking for his lower plate, but that's not visible. So I'm going to try and squeeze on for the cupola. And I actually managed to connect this shell. And I'm thinking, oh right, well, that's good. I can hopefully try and finish him off. Unfortunately, although I get fortunate with the first pen, it doesn't seem to go that well, and I'm struggling to pen this one-shot Tiger Mouse here, and I'm really just hoping that please someone on our team take out this tank, because this tank's holding me. I can't move until this tank's destroyed, because the bar, when I poke the ridge to my right, he's going to spot me, and then I can't really progress. So I have to kill this tank. Now, if I had the heat shells loaded, I'd be able to swap to the heat and go through that tank's turret face. Unfortunately, I can't use the heat shells because I've got a full clip loaded, and I didn't want to unload my whole clip. So I was hoping someone was going to take the initiative and kill that tank, but that's not really been the case. And unfortunately, that's leading me to be a little bit stuck here until I can remove this tank. With the bar moving on to us, that's a little bit of a concern. But I do have my friendly platoon mate Swindle there in the Foch. So if that bar does try and full send me, he should be able to shut him down in his Foch. And hopefully if I'm able to track that tank in place, he won't be able to get his gun down to get a shot into me, because the gun depression on the bar is absolutely horrendous. You struggle to get your gun down on flat ground. So I'm still, as you can see, struggling to pen this Tiger Mouse. I'm thinking, come on, maybe I should have swapped to the heat shells, but I just didn't want to dump my whole clip. I don't want to dump my clip into Tiger Mouse, because I'm trying to keep that my best reload, because that's how the reload mechanic works on the Italian tanks. That essentially the last shell you're firing, your last shell you've loaded in your clip is your best reload. So I don't want to dump my whole clip if I can help it. Looking to try and get the shot in. The bar has decided to come over us. I'm screaming at Swindle, help, help, and he is shooting the bar now. I'm trying to track him in place. He does get tracked in place there. He can't get his gun downloaded into us, and we're able to shut down the bar, thankfully, picking up our first kill of the game. And it looks like that Tiger Mouse though is still alive, but at least maybe with the bar destroyed, I might be able to get a better angle to take him out. I've also swapped to the heat shells, because now I'll be able to deal him, because I was be able to kill him with the heat shells, because I managed to dump my clip into the enemy bar. So So I'm trying to find this Tiger Mouse, trying to spot him, because the end goal is really taking this sort of J8-9 line to try and come behind the enemy team. Unfortunately, it's taken me a lot longer than I wanted to happen, but thankfully there's still a lot of damage left in the game. I wanted to do this a lot quicker, because if I did it quicker I would be able to get more damage out of this game. It just wasn't to be the case. We have spotted an enemy tank destroyer though in their base. We're hoping to pick up a bit of assistance here, waiting to try and get my full clip so I can dump my mag into this tank, and we're starting to reap the reward of the assistance there on 2,000 assistance, on about 2,200 damage of our own, and that tank gets shut down by our friendly Tyran, putting us into a 10 versus 11. Game is still very close. Hit points are fairly even at this point. We do actually have the slight hit point advantage, but now we're starting to take a bit of the map control. Unfortunately, we're starting to lose the 8-9 line because it's taken me quite a long time to be able to get this far. Tiger Mouse has moved, but now we also have a full clip potential into this poor enemy Dragon. We're going to try and get a shot into him here. Unfortunately, we do get detected for it though, but we have got cover with this little ridge line here. So we're going to try and dump our clip to take out that Dragon if we can. Put him on the one shot, should have the finish. Yes, we do. Put us on to 3,000 damage with our second kill of the game and 2,600 assistance. 9 tanks remaining. Now I've managed to sort of win this side. Our friendly team have got a bit more braver and come with us. It would have been nice if they could have came there a little bit earlier, but you know, it is what it is. We're now unfortunately though down to our last shell in the mag, so our DPM is going to be pretty horrendous here, so we're missing out on the damage, but we're going to try and move into position whilst reloading our shells. There is an enemy Tyran spotted on the hill, just seeing if we can get a shot in. We've almost reloaded, and yeah, this game's looking, it was a little bit dicey at the start, but it's looking pretty confident on getting the win now, because we've managed to win that side. We can essentially come behind the enemy team, putting them in a position that they're trapped, because they haven't won the 9-0 line, and now we're behind them. They've got nowhere to go, so it's going to make it a lot easier to get damage, and we've still got a lot of our hit points, so we can afford to eat a shot. We can even eat a shot off a Tyran if we have to, not that we'd like to. We're going to try and get as much damage as we can into these tanks here, looking for our third kill of the game. We do pick up our third kill, puts us at 9 versus 5. Like I say, this game's pretty much all but won just because of the map positions, if I'm honest. Reloading another shell, and then we're going to try and dump our shells to pick up a kill on the grill, pick up our 4th kill. Only 3 tanks remaining. One is a pretty healthy Tyran in this low ground, and like I say, we should be able to get our shots into him. We're just trying to wait for our clip to be reloaded so we have a full clip, and then we can dump our clip away, because this is going to be the last bit of damage we're going to have. So we are coming in here. We pick up another kill for our 5th kill of the game. Can we pick up the Top Gun medal? Like I say, we hit the shot on the Tyran. Doesn't really matter, because we're able to finish him off and pick up our 6th kill. Bring this then to replay number 1, but with one more replay to come. How do we finish off with this one? 6 kills, 4,500 damage. 3,500 assistance with the Top Gun there and the first class medal. So let's move on to the final replay of this video. Okay, so here we are for the final replay then on Kunis, where it is a standard battle type. We are platooned up with Swindle 321 in the tier 10 mercenary light tank, the Tusk, and there's no enemy artillery in the game. So initially we're going to go to this side and see if anything gets spotted crossing to try and get some early damage into this game. Swindle's going over there, so he can light that sort of crossing there, and hopefully we'll be able to reload a full clip to try and get some punish if anyone does attempt to do so. So that's the plan at the start. As you can see, a lot of our tanks have sort of moved, you know, towards the town, and to be fair, it's a pretty even split with a lot of tanks going this way as well. We have now loaded our full clip, so if anything does cross, we'll be ready to fire. But as it stands, nothing's happened. But I don't want to leave too early, just in case they decide to cross late. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to sort of punish them for making that cross. So I'm just sort of waiting at this stage to see if anything gets spotted. Our friendly heavy tanks are moving up as well, so they might potentially spot something. And yeah, we're just going to be a little bit patient to see how this game actually develops. As you can see, there is quite a few tanks on the ridge line, and it kind of looks like this enemy medium tank might be making its way to potentially cross. As it stands, that hasn't happened, but then we do spot a heavy crossing. Typically we spot it too late, so we miss an opportunity to punish that tank, but we can punish the next tank which is going to cross. That TVP, we put one in, we're going to try and get a shot into the medium, is also going to try and cross, and we get fortunate we actually set him on fire there as he crosses, and that picks up a nice juicy amount of damage, putting us on to 1,200 damage there. Yeah, and a good way to start the game, although the enemy team have took the lead early on this game, so we're kind of waiting to see anything crosses. I think now where they've moved into that position, I'm not going to be able to get so many shots into them, but an enemy waffle has been spotted in the middle, and he looks like he's getting pushed by a friendly team. That means he's going to try and leave, and when he tries to leave, I want to try and punish him as he tries to escape here. So he is trying to run. We put a shot in, we're going to go for the track to try and track him in place. We put a second shot into him, and that puts us on to about 2,200 damage. Leaves that waffle in a one shot. I'd like to think my teammates who are pushing him there should be able to shut him down. I'm just trying to reload a few more shells, because unfortunately, whilst this has been happening, our team on the sort of 8-7, 8-9 line haven't lasted very long. They've died very quickly, and that's quickly put us into an 11 versus 15. So I need to kind of pull back from that angle, because otherwise I'm going to be sort of a sitting duck in the open when I get spotted. So I'm trying to move back now to see if I can get any shots on these tanks through the middle here, or anything in the base which gets spotted. We do spot a few tanks get spotted on the hill. Looks like we might have a shot at this enemy FE1005, a small shot, but we do put one in. And as that's happened now, two more tanks, a medium tank and a heavy, is pushed up into the middle. It looks like they're about to full send it in, and I've got a full clip ready for this, so I am going to try and put in the punishing and try and get some shots into these tanks. Put two in the medium, putting them onto a one. Set the TVP on fire again, and then finish him off. We eat one shot off of this enemy medium and pushes round, but we've done a good job there, shutting down a tank and putting another one onto a one shot. Also putting us onto 4,000 damage, although again we are still losing this game, and our team are continually pushing through the heavy flank, but I need to try and deal with these tanks behind me. I haven't fired because I wanted to load two shots, so I got enough to actually kill this tank in the clip. Unfortunately, we then bounced the side of his turret, which was unfortunate, but he does get shut down anyway by a friendly E4. And I'm now actually sort of in two minds. I don't really want to continue this push down the heavy flank. I never find it goes that well when you start pushing out the other side. And I've also got tanks coming behind us. And as you can see, I've got my friendly E4 there, asking to defend this position. I want to try and get into position to cover my E4, so when they try and push him, I can try and help him by getting shots into the tanks which are pushing him, which is exactly what I'm going to do here. We get two into the 58 here. That does at least put him onto a one shot to the E4. Unfortunately, I can't actually get some shots in. He's now behind cover, so I need to go up high if I'm going to try and help out my friendly E4, which is what I intend to do here. I want to try and keep him alive for as long as I can, because he's taking the middle of the map, he's taking a good position, and it's sort of making the tanks, they have to push him if you like, so I need to try and cover him. Fortunately, I bounced a kill shot on the 58 heavy, but our friendly teammate Swindle shuts him down anyway. And then Tusk, that puts us on about 5,000 damage. Chisel gets spotted on the other side. We put one shot in, unfortunately loses his spot, so I wasn't able to get another shot in. I didn't want to risk shooting because I want to try and reload my clip here, because as you can see, looking at the heavy flank, kind of looks like we're losing that area now. Our tanks are continuing to push, but I think they're going to push into more than they can actually chew. And I think the time I get down there, they're probably going to be dead. So I'm actually just going to hold now and try and spot these tanks as they come round. But we are getting put into a real awkward situation. I just want to try and keep my E4 alive. Unfortunately, I can't quite cover him. Maybe I should have moved here where Swindle is, but I thought, well, these tanks, my thought process is my tanks in the 1-2 line, they're going to get shut down here. If they would have pulled back a little bit rather than push in, then I probably could have covered them. Unfortunately, as it stood, if I would have gone down there, they would have just got killed, and I would have been left in like a 1 versus 4 in that situation. So I'm getting pinged, but yeah, I'm obviously not going to push down into K1 because that's not very smart. So I'm going to wait for these tanks to come to me and try and get some damage into them. And now in a 3 versus 8, things aren't looking too promising, but we're not going to give up. We're going to try and fight to the very last minute. F3005 gets spotted. We chance it for 2 shots. We can't poke now because he's aimed in, and yeah, we're using this lighthouse to try and keep ourselves alive. But the second these tanks get under the ridge, unfortunately we're getting shot by the chisel on the left now as well. We're going to get taken out. F3005 does get shut down by my platoon mate. Now I'm going to use this opportunity to run and fall back again because I don't really... Yeah, I've only got Swindle to cover, but unfortunately he's not in like the best tank for this sort of fight. He's in a Tusk. You know, if he was in another like a tier 10 medium here, like good DPM or heavy, it would stand a good chance. But obviously the Tusk isn't, you know, as he's heavily armoured targets, it's not going to be a great deal he's going to be able to do realistically. And we're kind of trapped. Like maybe we should have pushed that chisel out earlier. Might have been the play because we would have killed the chisel. We could have actually escaped. The chisel does get shut down by the E4, one about 6,000 damage. Waiting for this shell to come in. Unfortunately, E4's got taken out. He did as much as he possibly could do. We're now in a 2 versus 5, but the enemy team, yeah, they've got a lot more hit points than us. Whilst we get spotted in the open, we're going to try and dump our clips, see if we can take out a tank. We set him on fire. Is he going to burn to death? Unfortunately, not quite. But we're on about 7,000 damage now. And yeah, we're just, well, we are up against it. I can't leave. I think I'm going to get spotted if I try and run. You know, really, I need distance here. I think I just have to accept that, yeah, it's just, I've got to fight now. And just get as much as I can. Hopefully try and get another clip in. Unfortunately, we bounced a shot off the heavy tank. Put one in into the medium. Unfortunately, yeah, this is probably going to be it for us. Although the E6 does bounce, it allows us to get another shot in. But that is it for our game, unfortunately. We do get taken out. We try as hard as we can, but yeah, we end up with a good game regardless. We've got 8,000 damage there. Picking up, what I think about 1,000 assistance as well. And we get the first class. Yeah, we could have just maybe killed the chisel earlier. We could have escaped and got a bit more distance. Then who knows, but it wasn't to be. Anyway, that's the video. So thank you so much for your support. And as always, happy tanking.
Hadouken!